Hi there, my name is Dylan Perigo. I'm the Director of Admissions and Marketing here at Keyin College. Come join me here today and learn more about the programs and all the exciting life-changing opportunities we have to offer.
Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. What an absolute pleasure it is to be back here in Keyin College in beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm seated with the co-owner of the college, Craig Tucker. And I know, Craig, you guys are making a difference. But today, before we get into a big preamble, I want you to narrow right in. What's separating Keyin College these days? What are you doing different that we should pay attention to?
Well, I think you're here today in the middle of our management retreat, if you will, and we've got 3 days of bringing all of our leadership team together to talk about what we always thought was just finding a better way, right? Mm-hmm. And looking to the future to get those nuggets. What can we do better? And I can assure you in that room next door, they're all in there coming up with new ways and innovative ways we can be better. And so that, for us, is critical mass. That, the challenge we give our staff is just find one thing that you can do better this year. So we're heading into 2026, and I want to make sure that they have that notion of, I can do one thing. If they find three, great, that's wonderful, that's amazing, but do one thing better this year to make us better as an organization.
And before you dive into the things that you are indeed doing better, when the person finds that one thing, how empowered are they to bring that forward? What is your tolerance for failure? Do you let them go and see?
100%.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think it's important. We've been really working hard on the culture, the brand of who we are. And, we've said this to the team today. It was kind of my leading comments at this morning's session, that we want our people to be empowered. It's okay to make a mistake. We'll fix it. This notion of worrying about failure is terrible. If you go to work every day thinking, I can't fail, I can't make a mistake, you're never going to push the boundaries, right? So I think from our perspective, Steve and I both feel, and Jan and the whole leadership team, we want people to make mistakes. It's okay. Obviously, we don't want to see a lot of mistakes. You want to try to curb that. But it's okay to make a mistake, because as you do, we're only going to get better over time, right? And that'll push the boundaries.
When that culture exists and people feel empowered and supported, like you just described, you can really let people thrive.
Yeah.
Right? That brings out the best in people,
question,
right?
No question.
That's why when you talk to people around here, they refer to this place as family.
Yep.
Right?
That's true. Yep.
Because that's what a family does to one another, right? They support one another.
Yep.
They help people along the journey.
Yep.
They know sometimes you get knocked down.
Yep.
They're there to help you back up.
That's right.
You don't see that in the workplace that often.
No,
you see it here.
It's unique, no question. Yep.
So that allows you then, that's a great foundation, to do things a little differently, to be a little bit more sort of creative and innovative in your approach. So talk to me about some of those innovations you're going through.
Well, I think, it's probably a great starting point is on the micro-credential side. And I think what we're seeing through the micro-credential division, which was never a part of our DNA. If you go back in time 3-4 years ago, micro-credentials were not a part of that DNA, and they are very much a part of that today. And what's fascinating is the learnings out of the micro-credentials. We're starting to take those learnings and move them into post-secondary division as well. But the learnings within micro-credentials are showing such innovative growth and innovative ideas and approaches to how we educate. That's starting to really become exciting to bring into the post-secondary side. And that's what we're about right now.
There'd be people out there that wouldn't even understand what a micro-credential is.
That's true. Yep.
Tell me what it is.
So a micro-credential in our ethos is a course, basically a compressed course that is less than 50 hours, and we're doing this now in all kinds of sectors. So we're AI, specifically AI courses right now, teaching artificial intelligence to industry groups. So whether it's the Canadian Manufacturing Association, CME specifically, whether it's Hospitality NL and some of the tourism-related things we're doing in hospitality, whether it's with CBDC and small to medium enterprise and helping them sort of curate learning for artificial intelligence in their small to medium businesses across the province, and on it goes. We're doing national level things now across Canada that are focused on AI specifically. But that's really what it is. It's about taking a compression of a course, teaching in small bite-sized chunks. What happens with micro-credentials, and I'll use the example of our home support worker program right now, these people that are employed in that sector can't leave their job to go back to school to do a full-time program, but they can do it in bite-sized chunks. So they can stay working in their field of study, or stay working in their sector, and do these micro-credential courses in their time, at their pace, when they're ready to be able to do it. When the kids are gone to bed and they want to be able to go in and look at a video of the live hybrid course that took place that day, they can go in and do their courseware. So it's about meeting the learner where they are, and micro-credentials is really an upskilling modality to really help the learner on the other side.
Educates them, it prepares them better for their job, it makes everything stronger, but it also allows them to advance. And one thing I find with the micro-credentials is that a lot of the employers, indeed the government, are all very supportive of this. They see the value in upskilling Newfoundland and Labrador in this very focused learning model. Are you having good success, and are we learning anything from those micro-credentials along the way? Like when you started this process, you had a vision, oh, let's tighten it all up, let's get it in a little box. What have you learned along the way that perhaps you didn't expect?
Yeah, it's been a journey. And I would say to you, it's been an explosion of learning. So let me give you some examples of what we're doing differently within the micro-credential division that wasn't traditional in the post-sec side. So for example, what we do today is before a student enters a micro-credential with us, we're doing a composition of where they are, trying to understand the level of competency of their digital skills. So we do a digital literacy sort of approach to things to really truly understand the level of the learner in terms of digital skills. So that's the very first thing, and that's pretty straightforward, but it allows us to quickly understand and kind of curate the learning to make sure that we're training the student where they are in terms of the level of technology. So that's the first thing. And that really drives the direction of how we approach it from there. The second piece that we do is we now are analyzing the learner on based on the VARC model in terms of profiling the student of the type of learner they are. So for example, you could be a visual learner, an auditory learner, read and writing, or kinesthetic. And so the idea is I might learn at a different approach than you. You might need to see everything visually, whereas I want to hear it. I want to have an auditory podcast teach me the program. So we've really honed in now, and I use the analogy of my son years ago. He was really trying to understand the Bernoulli principle. So with junior high, it was a project he was doing. Came home, he said, Dad, I'm struggling with this thing. Can we work together on this? And we took it on as a joint project. And so I went out and bought a model airplane, brought it home. We started to really understand lift and drag and thrust and how everything worked in terms of the Bernoulli principle relative to an airplane. And he had it. He knew exactly what it was. But he went back in that week and went to do the test on it and failed. And he was frustrated. I was frustrated because I said, this doesn't make any sense to me. But a lot of it was getting it from here to here. So we went back in, I talked to his teacher, who was a wonderful person, and I said, look, can you just talk to him about the Bernoulli principle? She did. And he went, here it is. And he rattled it off. And she said, oh my God, he knows this stuff. And I said, yeah, he does. But he's struggling to get it from here to here for whatever reason. And so it's important to understand, it wasn't that he was extremely knowledgeable on the Bernoulli, probably could eat everyone else in the classroom for lunch, retention of the knowledge, but he wasn't necessarily memorizing the knowledge. And so we have to understand that every learner is different. And so our micro-credentials today, the second piece of it is really understanding the learner and then curating the curriculum to that learner. So we can create more podcast style. We can create more, if it's example style, then it's more of a kinesthetic learner that they want to see the example. Give me an example of how that would work. And so that's the second piece that we've unlocked in our micro-credential side of things.
How do you? I mean, that's massive. So first of all, the story you just told, that plays out every single day across the globe. Everybody is learning differently. We know that now, but very few institutions are really understanding, let's meet folks where they are. Because the second half of that you just mentioned, curating everything to meet them where they are, It's massive.
It is.
How do you do that?
Well, I mean, the team, so it's a combination of the instructional core that we have. A lot of our instructors today teaching the micro-credentials came out of CDLI, so out of the education system, have taught for years. So they're bringing that layer of educational expertise to us. And then we, in turn, are bringing the level of innovation to them. So it's that collision of both of that happening. We're able to curate the learning for the student.
Is there AI in here?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Talk to me about
So a lot of what we do then is we have our own GPT, and we've created this internal character. It's our proprietary model called Norman. And so what Norman does is Norman says, okay, now that we understand your background, the level of digital proficiency, we understand your level of, or your learning style or your learning pattern and behaviors. Now we'll start to curate the curriculum. So Norman will actually help curate the curriculum for you as the learner in the way in which you like to learn. So AI is doing the curation with us. All the curriculum is the same. It's all the learning outcomes we're supposed to deliver as per Department of Education or any other standard. But AI then curates to the learner.
Right.
And so a couple of other things we are picking up on the journey. We have a technical support team that all they do is go in the classroom and support the learner on the journey. And I recently had was at a retreat where a couple of the individuals were having a tough time with the technology getting started. But because the instructor had to leave in this case, his post to come down and help support, our learning stopped. And it reinforced to me that that's why we have these in-class technical support specialists that help the students on that journey so the class keeps moving.
Right.
So just our technology, our technical support proficiency has gone up, and we have a whole team here in this building that go online during the classes and are in the class with the instructor to help the students on that journey. And so now we're starting to parlay that information into our post-secondary environment. So you're going to see us move more and more towards that students can't have those delays. They need to have that level of support on the journey.
So what a great sort of, what a great co-product of the micro-credential. Not only did you do all the things that you'd say you would do in the micro-credential, but here you are strengthening the post-secondary work as well. I just want to stay on the AI for 1 second, if I could. The way you describe it, it's almost like a closed system.
Yep.
It's not like your regular ChatGPT where you're pulling information and some things could go wrong. Just give me a little synopsis of what closed AI is in this model.
Yeah, so the biggest thing to understand is that it's all about, in the way it was kind of ingrained in the team, is that it's what you put into that and the preparatory time, and Andrew Mercer talks about this a lot, 80 to 85% is the preparation of what we put into our GPT. So if we put the information in that's required. So for example, if you're in a hospitality environment, put in the information, market data analysis, what's happening in the sector, any reports that are generated, things that you can upload and give to AI as a basis foundation. Now you've structured things to allow AI to really deliver the course in a way that's relevant to our sector.
Right.
So it starts to predictive modeling of what's going on in labor market downstream. It predicts new innovative technologies that are available, and it curates the learning around that. So it's just staggering, and the future is only going to get absolutely brighter with this.
And then, of course, as you say, you couple that with where the learner is, and both things meet.
You got it. That's exactly right.
Automatic learning along the way. Are the instructors, are the courses, is it a continuous cycle of improvement?
It is.
Like from lecture to lecture? How does that work?
It is. And we're, even through AI, we're also doing ongoing survey and research. So we're able to say, hey, was that a good class today? How did you rank your class? So we're starting to get more and more, we're getting tighter at the immediate data collection. So if you're an instructor, you get immediate feedback on your course. How was my class today? How did I teach? And we can aggregate that data. We can look at better ways to help our instructors on the journey as they're going. So all of that leans towards better outcomes and better learning outcomes, right? And so
and a better experience.
And a better experience for the student. Because if our instructors and our faculty heads and other groups out there are able to capture that data, now it means something to be able to help create that pathway for our instructors. That maybe we need more training in certain areas, and so we can identify that now and make our instructors better.
It's a game changer. So learned in the micro-credential, learned there, now taken over to your core program, your post-secondary course. Talk to me about how that's going to look for the learner.
Yeah, and I think we're just on the cusp of this, really unlocking the benefits of the outcomes of the micro-credential. But because it's such an innovative team that have been around the micro-credentials because of the sheer volume of what we've been doing, all of those learnings are moving into the post-sec. So we're just on the cusp of, I think, something amazing and great in terms of our ability to teach that in a post-secondary environment. I have a dream that one day, and Steve Taylor is my business partner, and we have a dream of, let's get this into K-12 system. Let's help kids in school really unlock what's the best pathway of learning and how do we help them curate can you imagine that day that's our K-12 system will explode and we'll be finally hitting what we need to do in terms of getting our kids ready for the future.
I tell you what you're describing there is really empowering them way early, because so many are getting lost along the way.
They are.
Because they're not being met where they are and how they learn, right?
Yep.
But what you're describing here is just a beautiful collision of people and AI and everybody working together to bring this down to the lowest level in the school system so that we are empowering people for the future. We're going to need to do that.
Yeah, no question.
Right.
And I think it's important to understand that AI, because there's lots of reticence with AI, in particular in the K-12 system, and in many cases post-sec. But we're not looking at it that way. We're leaning into it. We're providing it to our staff. We're giving access to AI to really embrace it. It's a pretty powerful tool, and used right, AI is a brilliant piece of our future, right? And it's going to help our from a socioeconomic, from a meeting the employment needs of the future, all of those elements, and really, I think, and Steve does as well, and our whole team, we lean into AI. We don't run from it, we run to it. That and national accreditation and other things that we can see. In many cases, it's important that the academia catches up to innovation, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to be careful. I'm not implying that you don't, but AI can certainly accelerate where we're heading into the future.
It's a tool. It's a very powerful tool, and how you use it is the key to it.
That's
right?
And
exactly. I love the way you describe it. I mean, you're training it, and you're learning together about it. This closed AI system makes perfect sense. It truly is finding a better way.
It truly is.
But I tell you this, I'll leave the conversation with this. I love a guy who's got a dream and not a plan. Right?
Yeah.
A dream is more powerful than a plan. You need a plan for sure.
Yep.
And there's no doubt in my mind.
They're building it out.
Keyin's got a plan, and they're building the plan, and it really is a successful one. But the dream is more powerful, and empowering your team along the way, you're guaranteed that the outcome of all of this is going to be the success of the people that are educated with Keyin College and beyond.
Right. That's the point. Thanks for that. And I think it's all about our students and our graduates, right? So that's great. Great stuff.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thanks as always.